This is Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, highlighting the office and deputies dedicated to providing law enforcement services and maintaining the trust and support of Rockingham County citizens, all while keeping neighborhoods and communities safe.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office. Thanks for tuning in to our July 2021 edition of our podcast, monthly podcast, where we bring you news and information from the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office. And I am the Public Information Officer, Lieutenant Kevin Southard. In the studio with me today is Sheriff Sam Page. Sheriff, good morning.
I'm glad to be here, and you know what? We made it through the 4th of July.
We did. You know, it was good to see people gathering again and being out. You know,
Thousands of people.
Saw some
Thousands
huge
of people.
crowds.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just people are ready to get back out.
Let me give some kudos here. You know, on the 4th of July, I had the opportunity to go to Lake Reesville for the Lake Reesville 4th of July celebration.
Right.
And I don't know how many thousands of people were there.
There's a lot of people there.
Great fireworks. I got to talk to a lot of people. I saw a lot of funnel cake. Lots of funnel. You know, I'll tell you the story after this. But then the next night, which was on Sunday the 4th, I went over to Moorhead High School for the Kiwanis annual 4th of July celebration. They had a lot of rides. They had bands, kind of like they had in Reesville the night before,
Right.
and they had fireworks. But they also had funnel cake. And Roy, you know, I've looked around for funnel cake, and you know, you can only find funnel cake at events. I mean, have you ever been able to find a funnel cake store?
No,
There's not one. But people love funnel cake, and I saw people wait in line for hours to get funnel cake.
Right.
But both events in Reesville and in Eden were great. Had great music, great bands, a lot of attendance, fun, and you know, something. You know, we've been locked down for about 15 months, and to be able to get out and talk to people, shake hands, and just see families and stuff, it was so great. It was a great moment, a great opportunity, and again, we appreciate everybody coming out. Please don't forget, next year, come out to Lake Reesville for their 4th of July celebration, and come out to the Kiwanis event over in Eden for their 4th of July celebration.
And don't forget the great fireworks displays at both.
Oh man,
phenomenal!
It was something. But you know, I remembered one thing. This last time, I made sure I brought earplugs.
Right.
So I'm good. I can hear good now. But anyway, that was fun. So 4th of July was great. We've had a lot of activity going on. So
yes.
I'll go ahead and turn it back to you.
Well, we're in the middle of summer, obviously, and you know, with that, there's a lot of recreational activities going on here in Rockingham County to do, and unfortunately sometimes that can turn into tragedy. The water sports can be very fun, but it can also has the potential to be dangerous, and we saw that here recently with some tubers that were going down the Dan River, that some of which were rescued and some of which unfortunately lost their lives.
Yeah, last month around the 16th, which was on a Wednesday, my understanding, a family of 9 went out to the Dan River and actually got on the Dan River and we're going to float down. And somewhere during that process in that afternoon, evening, the persons that were tubing went over the dam, and some of the persons there lost their lives. And some other persons, I think it was 4 of the family members, were able to stay with their floats and stay afloat near the dam area until they were spotted by our Duke Power representative, called for assistance. Rescue squads came in, law enforcement came in, Mercy Service, Mercy Management, fire
Now this was the next day.
Yeah, this was the next day.
This was the next day. They had to hold on.
And I've just thought about this since then, but you know, they were out there for 16 to 20 hours, clinging to life.
Yes.
And you know, that's tough. That's tough. But I also will commend the first responders that they got in quick. They were able to rescue the survivors, and then began the search for other survivors. And for about a 6-week period, the day that they recovered those persons, I think it was 3 more family members that were located, and it still had, after that day, had 2 more family members missing. And of course, we had the support of the Highway Patrol Air Unit. Their helicopter unit came in, working with our rescue squads and our swift water teams. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rockingham County Swift Water Team, made up of the 3 rescue squads, and they specialize in swift water rescue. And they're all volunteer. They're not paid. They're all volunteer, and they do a great job. We did have assistance of some other agencies, and I will say that we had Greensboro Fire Department, Winston-Salem Fire Department. And also we had support from some of the churches. I know Osborne Church helped out, providing food and support, and there were other churches and also private individuals. I don't want to miss anybody. I just want to say thank you to everybody that came out to show your love and your caring for these people that lost so much on that day, and trying to help bring closure also to the families. I also want to give kudos to Jason Wood, the chief of the Eden Rescue Squad. I talked to him at the 4th of July celebration this Sunday before he went back out on Monday. He said, I'm going back out tomorrow. I'm going to go out and do a river check again that they'd been doing regular. And that day, on Monday, he went out about 4 o'clock. He was able to locate the final family member that had drowned, and was able to recover that person and bring that person back and notify the next of kin so they could begin the closure and healing process.
Right.
So I do want to thank all the rescue squads and all the first responders and everybody that came out and helped. I also want to thank our news media, because they also helped to push out a message of what was going on and the needs and everything. And again, this was a many-hour operation, but a lot of volunteers, a lot of first responders came out, and I just want to say thank you. That's what makes you feel proud about Rockingham County, is we care about people, and we get involved.
We come together.
And we come together. And during crisis, yes, we come together, and we do. And they did a great job, and I appreciate them. And I know there's a lot of people across Rockingham County that also appreciate it. So if you think about these rescue squads in particular, just remember, volunteer. They're supported by the United Way of Rockingham County. They do receive some funding from there, some from the county, but they're not a paid group, for these operations. And if you'd like to make a donation, that's a good group to make a donation to.
Absolutely.
The rescue squads of Rockingham County.
Absolutely, whether it be monetary or donate your time, because I know that a lot of these places are looking for volunteers.
In these days and time, a lot of times, you need to continue to grow your volunteer base, and I'm sure they need help. So if you're interested in any of the rescue squads, just contact them. They're listed in the phone book or on the internet, and contact them and talk to the chief and see what it takes to join and be part of that operation. And also, we have a lot of volunteer firefighters across Rockingham County, 19 different fire departments, and those are volunteers also. We've had some full-time firemen that are mixed in that work at other fire stations, and then they come in and volunteer on their off time.
Right.
Again, that's another group. That's another tremendous group. But thank you, everybody that came out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what are some safety measures that someone could take while they're either floating down the river or enjoying one of our lakes here in Rockingham County?
Or just out in the wilderness?
Out in the wilderness.
I just read something today, and it was on one of the local news stations, and it's an app called What 3 Words? Okay? What 3 words? I haven't had a chance to look at it today, but I wanted to kind of kick it out there. But a lot of times we can locate now, if we got a phone, we can locate by GPS, okay, satellite. And it's reasonably accurate. But that's if you have an address. But what if you don't have an address? And on this, and I know, there's some different tracking systems, but on this particular app right here, if you queue and you need assistance, it does grids, and it can actually put you just within a few meters of that person. So if you're out on Blues Lake, for example, I'm in the middle of the lake and you don't know where you're at and you're visiting stuff, and they say, where are you at? And your boat's gonna run out of gas. You go to that app, you click it and say, I need assistance, and it will actually mark your location within a few meters.
Wow.
So it's what 3 words? I don't know any more than that. I'm gonna check it out today and see. A couple of things. We always talk about water safety. There's a show on TV this week, Shark Week and stuff like this, and I'm a scuba diver, so and I've dove with the sharks before, and I'm big on safety in the water and underwater. But if you're going to go near waterways and stuff like this, I always encourage people to teach your kids how to swim and do it early.
Absolutely.
They've got a lot of water safety programs at your YMCA's and some of your different clubs out there where you can learn how to swim. They've got instruction, but teach your children how to swim. One. Number 2, if you're going to be out on areas like rivers or stuff, moving water, stuff like this, or you're going to be out boating, there are some requirements. But when you're out on the rivers and stuff like this, you might want to consider wearing a personal flotation device. They call them life vests.
Right.
Okay. And because I remember back in the day, you used to have the great river races and stuff on the Dan River and stuff like this. A lot of people used to go out and hit the water pretty regular. We've got some different groups out here that take people on tours. If you'll check with Rockingham County Economic Development, they can in tourism, they can put you on to some of these different groups that teach you about canoeing, kayaking, and floating the rivers and stuff. And you go as a group and stuff like this. So it's very educational and plus safe to do that.
Right.
But if you are going to go out on the rivers, stuff like this, make sure you think about a personal flotation device. If you're kayaking, not only a personal flotation device when you're in your kayak, but wear a helmet, because sometimes the kayaks flip over and stuff, and if you bump your head on a rock, stuff like this, could put you in peril. So make sure.
That's the thing. Even the best swimmers, that's why you should wear a personal flotation device, a life jacket. Even the best swimmers, if you fall off or bump your head or something in the water, you may end up incapacitated, not able to.
For 21 years that we ran our lake patrol program out at Blues Lake, whenever we operated, one of our rules was when you're operating the boat, or you're a passenger in the boat, or you have a passenger in the boat, they have a personal flotation device on. So we always had plenty. But make sure you have that. That is to help you in case something happens where you can't keep your head above water. It's a way to keep you above water and keep you safe. So learn how to swim, personal flotation devices. Be familiar with the areas and stuff. We've got some beautiful areas. If you go up to Anglin Mill, they got a beautiful area. They got rapids up there, but they also got rocks. And we've had some people get injured and stuff up there in the past. You don't dive into rocky areas because you can get hurt and stuff like this. Sometimes people want to mix alcohol and water activities. Not smart.
Right.
But if you're going to be around the water and stuff like this, know the area where you're at, recon it, research it ahead of time, so you kind of know the area where you're at. And there might be some issues that you want to be aware of, like dams or other type of obstructions and stuff that could cause you a situation.
And pay attention, look out for any warning signs for any potential dangers.
Also, the thing, you got to be aware when you're out in the wilderness, be aware of the critters out there. Because there are snakes out there, and there are ticks and other type things you might encounter, something like this. And also, bring water. A lot of times when you go out in these hot areas and stuff like this, I just got back from Phoenix about 3 weeks ago. It was 115 degrees out there, and that was in the city. If you're out where it's hot and stuff like this, make sure you hydrate. Keep you some water available just in case you need it. And again, sunscreen.
Right.
And you know what? A good old hat sometimes ain't bad either. Keep that sun off your head and off your ears.
That's
off
right.
your nose, and give you some protection and stuff like this from the rays.
That's right. Well, while we're talking about the hot weather, I'm going to jump to
Go ahead.
the Fans for the Elderly project. That is still underway. We are taking in fans that will be given to the Adult Protective Services Department of Social Services and then distributed out.
Right.
People have been very generous, as they generally are each year, but we again are running into an issue with basically they're going out the door as soon as we're receiving them in. The demand
here's your appeal. We give out hundreds of fans a year. All these fans are donated. They're UL approved fans. I've gone into a lot of businesses and they got a lot of fans on those stands stacked up. If you want to help out and help particularly our senior citizens, Fans for the Elderly program. This program actually started, I think, with the local fire departments, and then we got involved in stuff, and we still work with our local fire departments to collect the fans. But if you want to donate Fans for the Elderly, all you have to do is come by the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office 24/7. We're open 24/7. You can drop off your fans. You can go by your local fire departments in any of your townships, or your volunteer fire departments and say, here, these fans are Fans for the Elderly. If you can't get them out here, call, we'll come pick them up.
Right.
And we'll bring them in. The thing is we do this generally between May and August because those are some of your hottest months, and we want to make sure that we look out for our senior citizens.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you go outside and it's 90 to 100 degrees, and then picture not having any even air stirring.
That's right. So remember, Fans for the Elderly, new UL approved fans. If you'll pick those up, you'll buy them, you can donate them, and we'll take them. Social Services help us get them distributed, okay? And we want to make sure we take in a lot and we give out a lot to help our citizens in Rockingham County. And also, if you know a senior citizen out there, a friend or family member, stuff, a church member, stuff like that, check on them periodically. Okay?
Absolutely.
That's a good thing. They appreciate the contact.
Okay, so let's switch gears back here. Recently, the activity on the Dan River Church Road, shooting, 3 shot, 2 ended up dying as a result.
We had a double homicide on the 27th, Sunday, the 27th of June, around 10 p.m. We had a double homicide. 3 people actually were shot. 1 person did survive and had to receive medical attention and treatment. We are still under investigation of this particular case. If you know anything about the shooting at the Dan River Church Road, area where we had the shooting. If you know any information about that, you can contact Crime Stoppers of Rockingham County. Now, you don't have to give your name. You can remain anonymous. And also, there are some rewards for information that come to Crime Stoppers to help us to solve these cases.
Up to $1,000 cash money.
And I'm going to give you the number, 336-349-9683. 336-349-9683. And I was going to tell you something else, is a lot of the cash rewards are made through donations to the Crime Stoppers of Rockingham County. If you want to help us fight crime in Rockingham County, and you want to help others to be anonymous that help us to fight crime in Rockingham County, make a donation, 501c3 organization, and you can write a check to Crime Stoppers of Rockingham County. If you're nearby, Kevin is you're one of our coordinator with the Crime Stoppers for the Sheriff's Office. If you want to come by, bring a check by from Crime Stoppers of Rockingham County, we'd appreciate it. All those donations go toward
every bit of it goes to rewards, yeah.
For persons that give information pertaining to cases that help us to solve cases in Rockingham County, serious cases. And again, we appreciate it. I know the families appreciate it. We appreciate it. And again, we want to have a safer Rockingham County. But with your help and community help, we can get our job done and we can put these bad guys away. And we appreciate you.
Absolutely. Well, we are in the summer months, and let's talk crime prevention.
Okay.
Summer-specific crime
Well,
prevention.
let me ask you, Kevin. What are some things that you're seeing? Now, I know you have. How many community watch groups do you think you have right now?
It's around 30.
And they're coming online. We kind of went. Everything kind of went asleep during the COVID situation.
Right.
But 15 months later,
We're phasing back in.
We're phasing back
Meeting.
in. I think in August you'll have Community Night Out, which is the annual.
National Night Out, yeah.
National Night Out for Crime Stop. I mean, not for Crime Stop, for a
Community
watch.
watches.
Community watch, mixing things. Community watch. And with these organizations, you go out and talk to them. You're my lead when you go out and talk to them as our crime prevention officer. And what's some things you tell them? And what's one thing we're seeing about cars?
Well, and I say this at every meeting, and I'm sure people, if you've tuned into one of these shows before, you've heard me say it. The easiest thing that you can do to prevent crime is to lock your car door. 99.9% of all of the thefts from cars are unlocked cars, and because thieves are, for the most part, lazy. They don't want to draw attention to themselves by breaking the glass out of the windows or anything like that. So they'll lift a car latch, door latch, and if it doesn't open, they move on to the next one and move on to the next.
Now, we've seen them go through neighborhoods at night.
Exactly.
We've seen them go through neighborhoods at night and checking doors and stuff, checking car doors. And, during my time as a criminal investigator, and I've worked in law enforcement for many years, I don't think I've seen too many cases where a window was broken to enter. It was always because somebody didn't lock that door.
That's right. The very few times that we've seen that happen, it's been because something of value was left out in plain sight that was just too good of a target for the thieves to pass by, like maybe a firearm or a purse or something like that. And then so they take the risk for that. Take anything of value from your car, take it inside or lock it in the trunk, get it out of sight, definitely when you're not in your car.
How about your garage doors, day or night?
You should keep those closed. We've seen thieves have come up with people in the house and the garage doors are open. They'll pull right into the driveway there. They'll get out, run in the garage right quick, grab something of value, and then take off. That's what we generally keep in there. Sometimes we'll keep, landscaping stuff, weed eaters, and so on and so forth, and that's what they'll target.
Well, I drive neighborhoods a lot of times. On the weekends, I'll ride around neighborhoods, and I'm driving in my law enforcement truck. A lot of people don't recognize it as a law enforcement vehicle right away, and I notice a lot of garage doors open and nobody around, and I'm saying it's an opportunity. Cut out that opportunity. Don't allow the criminals the opportunity. Lock it or lose it.
That's right.
That's the old saying, right on the cars.
And the community watching, I'm going to tell a story on the community watching.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one of my community watches, they were doing what they were supposed to be doing, right? They were looking out for one another, and I had one of them call me. It was one night I was at home or whatever, and one of them, because I gave them a cell phone number, one of them called me and said, "Kevin, there's a suspicious truck riding around the neighborhood, shining a spotlight everywhere." I asked him, what color it was and what kind it looked like, whatever. And then I called you. I was like, "Where are you at?" Because it was you. You were checking the neighborhood going down through there, and just checking on them, or whatever, and put them at ease. But that was. I told him, I said, don't be sorry. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. If you see something that looks suspicious,
say something.
Exactly.
Call.
If there's nothing to it, there's nothing to it. But we'd rather be proactive than reactive.
Let-
If we can head it off before it ever happens, then that's best for everybody.
Let me throw this at you, Code Red. We have an emergency alerting system called Code Red. It's all over the country, but if you subscribe to Code Red in Rockingham County, you get direct information. Instead of listening to just social media or the news, you get it right from the 911 center, because all the information we send out through Code Red goes to the 911 center out to the subscribers, and you're getting good information about. So if there's a weather event, if there's a road closure, weather issues that are dangerous, anything that could be a hazard to persons and families, then we're out there, or we're going to have a lot of law enforcement presence. We'll push it out through Code Red to let you know. So if you're interested, go to the Code Red app. It's free.
It is free. There's also a link to it on our website, rockinghamsheriff.com, to download. You can sign up for it.
Let me throw, since you mentioned our website, if you'll go to rockinghamsheriff.com, you'll notice that if you want to apply online now for a purchase permit, we've been doing that for a while.
Right.
Now, through Permitium, you can apply online for your carry conceal. You still have to come in and sign your document, but you can go ahead and get the paperwork started, and then when you come in, it's signed and notarized.
Streamlines the process. Yeah.
So if you want to cut your time, I was at a gun shop in Greensboro the other day, and I was listening to people complaining about their county, something like this. And I said, well, I can't talk about another county, but I'll talk about in Rockingham County. We have a very efficient purchasing process for the permit process issuance, and also for the carry conceal process. And don't be surprised if you get a phone call from me if you get your carry conceal permit and it comes in. Don't be surprised if I call you and say, hey, come pick it up.
That's right.
Because it's a very important document. I always tell everybody that you, the homeowner, are the first line of defense in protecting your family. We're going to come, and we're going to come quick when you call. But again, it's not always because of a lot of officers or deputies. Again, we're not always on the corner right beside your house.
Right.
So, but when you call, we're going to come. But remember, if you decide to carry a firearm or purchase a firearm, there is a process. You will need to come out of the sheriff's office to get a purchase permit or apply for your carry conceal permit, which stands in lieu of a purchase permit.
Right.
But if you're interested or have any questions, go to our website, rockinghamsheriff.com.
Absolutely. A lot of good information on there. All right. I want to talk about, I want to make sure we have enough time to talk about it here, but let's talk about some of the drug issues we're seeing nowadays.
Well, one of the biggest things we're seeing right now is we're seeing abundance of heroin that's coming into our communities, large and small. Mm-hmm. Heroin, fentanyl, methamphetamines, and even cocaine's coming back. We're seeing that.
Right.
Marijuana's always been around.
Right.
I've been working with sheriffs from the border areas where the drugs, 90% of the drugs are coming in from Mexico into the United States and then been moved out through different parts of the country. Mm-hmm. We participate with the DEA. We work with the task force for the big picture in the Piedmont area to cut that big flow coming in. And then we have our narcotics officers in the local level working in the communities and stuff like this. So we're trying to cover it from the big side and from the small side. Right. But one key thing to remember is this. When people ask me where are the drugs coming from, I said, I'll tell you quite simply, your heroin and your fentanyl are coming from Mexico. And we've got to secure our borders to protect America, but to protect our kids, our families from these drugs that are coming in. And we do have people with addictions in our communities, and we've also got to we've got an opioid task force. And part of that task force is made up of people of the clergy, law enforcement, DSS, and other providers, providing support and care and helping people that have addictions. But remember, we've got to treat the person with the addiction, and we've got to cut the flow. It's supply and demand. We've got to reduce the demand, and we've got to cut the supply. That's how we combat the problem with the opioids and the drugs and that are taking lives every day, not only in this state, but across this country, thousands. And I think in 2017, 70,000 people, 70,000 people lost their lives due to opioids. And so, we're trying to do our job, but again, like I said, we've got to work with the persons with addictions and try to help those, because every one of those persons with addiction is somebody's loved one and somebody's family member. And we also got to deal with those cartel members and people that are capitalizing on human trafficking and drug trafficking into our country. We've got to secure our borders to protect America, to protect our communities, because we help them there, we help them here. You've heard me say this. If we fail to secure our borders, every sheriff in America, every sheriff, will become a border sheriff.
That's right. And so many other crimes tie into drug use and drug
Violence.
abuse and violence.
When you see all the uptick on the gun violence, stuff like this, a lot of times drugs are going to be right
There's a
there.
correlation,
Right
yeah.
there at the door.
Yeah, there's a correlation. All right, so I wanted to make sure in this show that we talked about the specific charge that we're targeting now, death by distribution.
Short version, and maybe next month we can have the district attorney on, Jason Ramey, our district attorney. Does a great job, and his staff did a tremendous job.
Very supportive
But
of
a
this.
new law came into effect within the past couple of years. It's called death by distribution. And basically, the basic content of it is if a person sells another person a drug and it takes their life, and you can show the connection that this person sold that drug, then the person could be potentially charged with death by distribution. Okay?
Which is a serious charge.
Yeah, and the old way, or back in the day before this law came into effect, a lot of times there was an attempt to charge a person with second-degree murder.
Right.
But it had to show malice. And with this offense, as I understand, malice is not an element. It's basically showing that this person sold this person knowingly this drug, and it caused that person to lose his life.
Well, then that puts
That puts
puts
it back
people
on the
notice.
drug dealer. So
That's right.
if you're a drug dealer in Rockingham County, or in any of our communities in Rockingham County, and you want to continue peddling fentanyl and heroin and stuff like this, and it costs somebody to lose their life, we're coming after you.
That's right. So they're
bet
on
on it.
notice. They're on notice.
You're on notice. And if we can charge you with death by distribution, working with our district attorney, we're going to do it.
That's right. And it's sadly,
Well,
all too often a reality that someone loses their life to some of these drugs that's coming over now. Even here in Rockingham County, I get asked, and you do too, about your border efforts and stuff like that, and we explain exactly, just like you said, the border is where we're seeing 90% of the drugs. That's according to the DEA.
I would think, and again, like I said, I don't talk politics, I talk public safety.
Yeah.
What I've learned over the past 10, 11 years, I've spread that information to sheriffs across North Carolina and across the country. I do work on the National Sheriff Association, Board of Security and Immigration Committee. I'm also on the executive committee with the North Carolina Sheriff's Association. But I've tried to make sure that we understand. And now the citizens across Rockingham County and across this state and across this nation, they understand. They know where the drugs are coming from. Now what we got to do is we got to get those persons in those positions to work toward better securing our borders, supporting our Border Patrol, supporting our ICE agents, supporting our law enforcement in those areas, and supporting our law enforcement across this country. Now, I can tell you this. When we have the support of our citizens, you can do your job and you can do it well.
We're blessed.
And we're blessed. In Rockingham County, I can tell you this, we appreciate the citizens that we serve here, and we look forward every day to coming out and working for you. So we appreciate your support because you help us to do our job and do it better.
Absolutely.
And we're committed to that.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to bring us to the end of our show for the month. Sheriff, again, thanks for being on. And always great information to pass along to the public here. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next month right back here on Sheriff Spotlight.